WPG Talk Radio 104.1 presents Ask the Congressman. It's your opportunity to talk directly to Congressman Frank LoBiondo. Call 407-1450. Now, with Congressman Frank LoBiondo, here's Harry Hurley.
Thank you very much. 5 minutes past the hour, and we're going to put the congressman on the spot. You know, he doesn't mind. He can take it. He's a big boy. He can take it. He doesn't know this, but you all know it. See, he's in our nation's capital, busy at work in the early morning hours. It's not like he was sleeping during my announcement, but he was busy working. So he doesn't know what I'm about to spring on him. And before we get into the very serious nature of many topics that we're going to cover, and, of course, your phone calls at 609-407-1450. Congressman, welcome to your program, sir. Good morning.
Good morning. Great to be with you again.
Now, you don't mind if I put you on the spot, do you?
No, you routinely do it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, and I appreciate that. I think it's very important that I put a motion on the table for your consideration. It is a special election day here on the Ask the Congressman LoBiondo program because for about 4 months or so, we've been announcing this is a special edition of the Ask the Congressman program, a special Hurley in the Morning edition of Ask the Congressman. But like a lot of things in life, what turned out, because it was necessary, there was just scheduling issues. You were on secret business. There were times you just couldn't make it, and on dates that I could, you couldn't. On dates you could, I couldn't. So instead of missing your program, which we've never missed in all the years we've been doing it, we came up with the idea we would do a special Hurley in the Morning edition in certain months where you couldn't make it. It wound up for 4 months we've been doing it. We both noted that the call volume has been excellent. The program has a lot of energy, and we both agreed offline that we just think it works better as a part of the Hurley in the Morning program in the 7 o'clock hour on set days that we announce way in advance. So I hereby move that we take away this moniker of special Hurley in the Morning edition and that we make this officially the Ask the Congressman program and that we officially move it from 5 p.m. on dates that would move, days even that would move, to a steady 7 o'clock hour each month here on the Hurley in the Morning program. The motion is on the floor for your consideration. How do you vote?
I enthusiastically second the motion.
Thank you. And since we are a voting populace of 2, we do not need Mike Pence to break our tie. The motion here has carried. And officially, the Ask the Congressman with United States Congressman Frank LoBiondo of New Jersey's 2nd Congressional District is hereby moved to the Hurley in the Morning program. And I think it's great, and we're excited about it. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
By the way, do you get any feedback about your show here?
Yes. You know that with the exception of overseas trips and some very special weekend sessions in Washington, I'm always home and out and about in the community, especially at community events. I have people comment on listening to you and how much they learn from you, and looking forward to when we get a chance to exchange some dialogue. And I even get some phone callers because I still review all the phone calls that come in every day. And lots of times somebody will ask about something, and they won't identify that they're a Hurley in the Morning listener. But when I call them back, they volunteer and say, listen, I listened to Harry. I heard you on Harry. I have a question about this. I have a problem with this. So, yes, I absolutely do get feedback.
I like that because what you do is a great, I think, community service, public service, and it gives you the opportunity to speak to a lot of people. And thanks for entertaining that question. Before we get our callers on, which we always prioritize, 609-407-1450, phone lines are open. I have been hit several times, sometimes on air, several times off air. Harry, you must ask Congressman LoBiondo to explain the vote on taxpayer transgender funding. And so there it is. The vote took place. You cast your vote. Could you please explain to your listeners the issue and why you voted the way that you did?
Sure. I'd be more than happy to. It's an issue that hits a chord with a number of people, and it was brought up in the National Defense Authorization Bill. But here's the setting of this. So this is the first national defense authorization bill under the Trump administration and under Secretary of Defense Mattis, General Mattis. General Mattis now, and I think I applaud what the president has done, who's given him the authority to increase troop strength. That means putting men and women in harm's way, especially in Afghanistan and Syria. General Mattis, who he has entrusted to change the rules of engagement, which, let me assure you, I wholeheartedly support, applaud, and that is happening. General Mattis, who is setting policy with options in places like North Korea and Iran and places like that. General Mattis called the chairman of the committee, Mac Thornberry, and called members of the committee asking, please do not include this amendment. He has this issue under review. It was one of the things that was handed to him from the previous administration. He understands the significance of it, but he asked us, he made a plea to us on several occasions, please do not include this. Let me conclude my review. Let me do what the Department of Defense should do. The Congresswoman, I think she's from Missouri, Vicky Hartzler, took the call from General Mattis, but she was not satisfied that General Mattis did not tell her exactly what she wanted to hear. So she went against the Secretary of Defense, and I thought that was wrong. Now, I don't think the military should be paying for these operations, but if we're allowing the Secretary of Defense to determine all these other things, and then we're going to say we don't trust you to do the right thing, and let me say that if for some reason he does not, we have legislative recourse. We can always go back and do this, and I think that at that point it probably the vote would go the other way. But this is General Mattis. This is a Marine Corps general, and to disrespect him and to disrespect his wishes and to go against his wishes when we're agreeing with everything else and applauding everything he's doing, I thought was wrong.
So, in short, you were honoring the request of General Mattis. Yes,
exactly.
I think a lot of people don't know that because you know what happens. Any type of vote that causes a stir, you know what happens. It becomes an email thread. It becomes a chain. Then the bad actors that are targeting certain members of Congress all over the country send these lists out, and they have LoBiondo on this list of 20 or something. So they portray it in the worst possible light, of course.
They do, and this is symptomatic, and this is sort of the usual way that some of these groups work. But in this particular case, the sponsor of the amendment, Hartzler, did not tell people that General Mattis had called her. Now, some of us who are on armed services, and I am, and I'm close to Thornberry. We were elected together. He's a great chairman, and he was lamenting this General Mattis request and how it was being ignored. And as soon as members started hearing, and let me tell you, they only heard of the General Mattis call. For some reason, the word really didn't get out far and ahead to the rank and file members who are not on armed services. When people started hearing that, they were really incensed that Hartzler would not take a request from the Secretary of Defense, who has acted in such good faith and I think is doing such a fantastic job. So this caused quite a stir. Not even besides being outside of Congress, this caused quite a stir within Congress about how to handle this whole issue. And again, Mattis has had this under review. Understand that for once he was confirmed and he came into being Secretary of Defense, that a lot of the undersecretaries who needed confirmation were not on board for a period of time, or still not on board. So we had situations where General Mattis had a very thin staff, and while he was working on a lot of issues, this was one of them. And I'm convinced he's going to come to the right conclusion and has assured us that they'll be making an announcement on this.
We're going to come right back in a few minutes. Sean Hannity is up. You're listening to Ask the Congressman with the United States Congressman Frank LoBiondo. What I love about my job and what I love about Congressman LoBiondo's program, that answer – hopefully everybody listening you will tell everybody you know. And in these posts that happen, you will say, no, I heard Congressman LoBiondo, General Mattis. So there's a big difference between honoring the request of the Secretary of Defense and giving him deference, giving him the opportunity to conclude his investigation, than it would be to just say LoBiondo just voted for taxpayer funding of military transgender, surgeries and things, when he just told you he's inclined to not support that if it were just a straight-up vote, but that the Secretary of Defense, General Mattis, requested the leeway, requested for this to be handled the way that it was. There's a big difference between the truth and a good story. 609-407-1450 phone lines are open. I'm Hurley in the Morning with United States Congressman Frank LoBiondo, who will be taking your phone calls next at 609-407-1450. Joe has the first question when we come back in about 3 or 4 minutes.
WPG Talk Radio 104.1 presents Ask the Congressman. It's your opportunity to talk directly to Congressman Frank LoBiondo. Call 407-1450. Now, with Congressman Frank LoBiondo, here's Harry Hurley.
I asked the Congressman for an opportunity to just have a sidebar unrelated to the Ask the Congressman program for 30 seconds, because I don't think I'm going to have another opportunity to squeeze this in, and it'll be 10:06. And we'll be out of here for 19 hours and 54 minutes, and I wouldn't have said it to you. Get ready. If Kim Guadagno does not become our next governor, can you imagine Sheila Oliver as the lieutenant governor of New Jersey and probably Secretary of State, because I think that Kim Guadagno has set the gold standard there, where she only had a paycheck from being basically Secretary of State. You sort of get the lieutenant governor for free. But I remember I was here. LoBiondo was there. You were there. Sheila Oliver, as the former Speaker of the New Jersey General Assembly, I'm telling you, God is great, because a lot of those horrible memories I thought were deeply, deeply recessed, and they all came back as soon as I heard that she is the running mate with Phil Murphy. I don't even want to get into the reasons that I think that's the ticket, but that's not good news. I'll just leave it at that. Let's go to your calls for United States Congressman Frank LoBiondo. Joe, your question. You're on the air.
Top of the morning, Congressman. Joey here. I had a good experience at your office a couple of weeks ago in Mays Landing, and I went out there with a veterans issue. I went in the front door. I was greeted by a lovely lady who said, "Good morning, sir. Can I help you?" I told her my problem. And she says, "Have a seat in the conference room," which I did. And guess who walks in? I knew right away this was a military person. It was Command Master Sergeant Michael Francis. What a guy you got on your staff. I told him my problem, and he says to me, "Joe, I can reassure you that it's not going to happen. It's DOA." It was about a veterans issue. They wanted to cut benefits, and he says the Secretary of the VA is against cutting veterans' benefits to help other programs. These benefits were earned by veterans in combat, and they shouldn't be taken away. So I just want to tell you, Congressman, you have a great staff, and especially Michael Francis, Command Master Sergeant, U.S. Navy.
Well, thank you very much. We endeavor to treat everyone with a great deal of respect and to solve their problems. And I am extremely fortunate that Michael Francis has chosen, after his distinguished career of, I don't know how many years, close to 30 years in the military, to come on board and specifically work on the military and veterans issues for me in the district. And he understands it. He's very proactive, and if something can't be solved, it's not for lack of trying. So I appreciate your kind comments. I'll pass them on.
And thank you, Congressman, and keep up the great work for veterans in the 2nd District. We have your back, and we support you 100%.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Have a good day. 609-407-1450. If you have a question or a comment for your United States Congressman Frank LoBiondo, that's the whole point of the program. I only ask questions when you're not. Ask the Congressman is your opportunity to call in. 609-407-1450, an open phone line. Welcome to Ask the Congressman. You're on the air.
Hello, Congressman.
Hi.
So, hey, I really support the Trump agenda, but I have to tell you I'm concerned about the way his execution of it. I'm interested in your thoughts on basically the way he's treating Sessions.
Well, I think that these matters should be handled in face-to-face meetings. He's the Attorney General of the United States, and I understand that President Trump has issues with Sessions' recusal and Sessions not pursuing certain aspects of what Mr. Trump thinks he should, but I just don't think it's helpful to do this by Twitter and in comments at rallies and things like that. I think it would be best served to call Attorney General Sessions in, lay it out. All cabinet officials serve at the pleasure of the president. So I'm not sure what's going on here. If he wants him gone, he could have him gone 5 minutes ago. Now, if you've listened to the comments of a lot of senators, Republican senators, who are not happy with how this is going, the serious issue and question here is if Sessions is forced out or is asked to resign, there's talk that it's going to be very difficult to find someone to confirm to bring into this position. So I understand the president has got priorities. I think some are valid, and that again, I'm repeating myself, but I think it should be done. Call him into the Oval Office, tell him what's why. He either goes ahead with it or ask him for his resignation. But
let me ask you this, though, Congressman. Let me push back because we have a little bit of a split decision. I would usually agree with that, but if my recollection serves me correctly, I don't believe Senator Sessions told the president that he was going to recuse himself on all matters pertaining to Russia, which, as you see, they can make everything. They can make Russian tea, Russian dressing, Russian vodka. They make everything about Russia. So really, he's going to be tied up in knots. Oh, you can't do anything with that because, Hillary had meetings with Russia, so you can't do it. So I think he's compromised. I don't think he should have done it. I don't think he told the president ahead of time. And I think he served him poorly with that in terms of him doing the tweets and emasculating the attorney general. I know President Trump very well. I know how he responds to things. He probably has had quite enough with his son getting hauled in, with his son-in-law getting hauled in, all kinds of other people. Then he hears that the thing, because the leaks are horrible, and I think you'll agree with that. These leaks are like never before. There's been at least one leak every day of the Trump presidency. Then it comes out that Mueller is now looking at the private investments and transactions, financial transactions of the president. And I think he finally had enough and thought, you know what? Sessions is the reason for all this. This had been an in-house job. We would handle it, legally and properly. But Sessions goes and recuses himself. This guy Rosenstein, who I don't trust as far as I can throw him, Congressman, waited about, 15 seconds to name the guy who had just interviewed to be the FBI director but didn't get it, to be the special counsel. Then he hires all these Democrats that have contributed to Obama and Hillary Clinton. Can you blame the president for being a little bit perturbed at this?
No, I don't blame him at all. I just say if that's the way the president feels, he should fire him. He should get rid of him.
Well, wait, though, because then if he fires him, it's the Saturday Night Massacre. It's Archibald Cox. He's Nixon. And by the way, in terms of getting somebody confirmed, what I would do if I was the president, I would ask him to resign, which evidently I think that's even happened. He's not going to resign. They've made that clear. And he thinks he can ride it out and, improve things and announce today that, he's opening up all these investigations and the leaks and things that he's going to come public with to try to show that he is doing what the president is asking him to do, and he's going to confirm it. So he's trying to outlast this this controversy. But if I was the president, I'd ask him to resign. He won't. And if he won't, you fire him. But you fire him while the Senate is on recess, and then he makes a recess appointment, and I'll see you after the next election.
Well, that certainly is an option, and that's going to take place in August. Maybe that's what somebody's thinking about.
I think it might be. Let's go to more calls for you. In fact, let's get the bottom of the hour break in. We're going to let you on next, please, and if you would hold for just a couple of minutes. Thanks for checking in on the Ask the Congressman program with United States Congressman Frank LoBiondo, and we have an open phone line at 609-407-1450. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
WPG Talk Radio 104.1 presents Ask the Congressman. It's your opportunity to talk directly to Congressman Frank LoBiondo. Call 407-1450. Now, with Congressman Frank LoBiondo, here's Harry Hurley.
And as usual, you do not disappoint. Phone lines are open this hour with United States Congressman Frank LoBiondo. If you're just joining the program, we put a motion out on the table. It was seconded by the congressman. It was unanimous, 2-0 on Election Day here. Special Election Day on Hurley in the Morning, Ask the Congressman. This is no longer a special Hurley in the Morning edition of Ask the Congressman. We've officially moved it from the 5 p.m. evening time slot to the 7 o'clock hour here. Once each month on the Hurley in the Morning program. And both he and I know that we don't try to speak for you, but many people have agreed it's a very good fit. We continue with your phone calls. Linda has the next question for the congressman. Welcome, Linda.
Good morning, Harry. Good morning, Congressman.
Good morning.
It's my understanding that it is a disqualifier that Mueller is in the position that he's in. And if it isn't a disqualifier, as some professionals have said it is, it should be. And my concern is that on top of Mueller, I believe, who is conflicted because of his relationship with Comey, and those that he is hiring from the Democratic Party, the DNC, and contributors, that we have a real issue here. And my concern is where are the Republicans on this, and what is your position on this? The Republican legislators, where are their voices?
Well, it's a
Where's
matter
yours?
of Congress.
Well, his is going to speak right now, Linda. Give him a chance. Go.
Well, it's not a matter of Congress that we can deal with. I mean, it's totally outside our jurisdiction. Well, I'm obviously not happy with the whole situation. Well, it's not happy with the whole situation. I mean, this thing is, for a lot of reasons, is spinning out of control. And I just hope somehow it gets into balance, because it's not good for the country, and I think it's hampering us getting stuff done.
I really think, let me enter now, Linda, and then we'll give Congressman a chance to respond to this. This is why Congress let the special prosecutor law wither on the vine and die a humane death, because it gets completely out of control. Now there's this special counsel, which is sort of barely a distinction without a difference, but there are differences. It's not as bad. But I'm going to echo Linda's point. Mueller has so many conflicts. He interviewed for FBI director and didn't get it. I think that disqualifies him. He was Comey's boss. They're friends. Comey's, at this point in time, especially with what he's done in terms of admitting under oath that he leaked this privileged conversation, multiple conversations with the president, he's at least a witness, a person of interest, a subject, a target. He would have to be, unless this is rigged, which I suspect it is. Mueller's so conflicted here, Congressman, that it's unbelievable. He's more conflicted than Sessions was.
There are serious problems, and I don't deny that. On the Comey situation, there are many people who feel that he has a serious violation on his hands. Now, what we don't know is where the investigation is on him, and what he's leaked, and what was classified, what wasn't, and a whole host of other things. While there are leaks on everything else that Trump is doing, there are no leaks on what Mueller's doing, or just or only those a few that he wants to put out. So I really hope for the sake of the country and all of us, we can get ourselves focused and on track.
Well, that's why I want to see Sessions gone, and I really like him, but he messed up here. He should have never recused himself. He's made a total mess of things, and he's made it, in my view, impossible for him to be the Attorney General. And so if he would step down like he should, the president could make an appointment, and I think a recess appointment would be good to just calm everything down, so this is not immediately the Saturday Night Massacre and hearings and, we can't confirm anyone. And then, the Democrats would then do every procedure like they've done through all the nominating processes to delay and delay and delay. Then this guy Rosenstein is in charge. I mean, it's like a monster movie. But this would allow the president to put someone in who's not conflicted, and then they can get control back of investigations, which I think are totally spinning out of control.
Well, you've come up with a solution that I didn't think of, Harry, and I think that's very viable.
He'll get trashed for it, but he should do it anyhow.
The assistant to Sessions could fill in, and you certainly wouldn't need the Senate at this time because she could fill in. But my point is, how do you feel about Mueller, Congressman?
Well, Linda, you asked me, and I told you. I think there are problems here.
Do you think he should be removed? Do you think he should be removed?
I think it's a disaster if he removes him at this point.
Do you think he should remove himself?
He's not going to remove himself.
Do you think he should?
Linda, we're going on hypotheticals here. Every day this stuff bothers me to no end. You have no idea the amount of time that we're trying to take on infrastructure, on tax reform, on FAA reauthorization, on national defense reauthorization, on House intelligence, chairing the CIA, hours and hours and hours every day. I'm very troubled by where all of this is. Congress doesn't have a role in this. I mean, if Mueller were to take himself out of it, maybe that would be a good thing. I don't think he will. And we can talk about hypotheticals all day long, but I'm really troubled of how in turmoil the whole situation has thrown us into, and the result is no results. And this is a problem. So whatever we have to do to get some results, that's what I'm in favor of.
Thank you.
Thank you for the call. 609-407-1450. When 93% of every news cycle, every network, every cable outlet, cable channel, 93% of the news coverage in America is Russia, special counsel, and this stuff. And as you say, Congressman, it's a shame because unemployment's the lowest it's been in 12 years. You have $4 trillion of new money in our economy that didn't exist before President Trump was elected. We've had the equivalent of every 5 days a new stock market record is being set. The military has been fixed in many ways. A lot of really great things. Keystone XL pipeline, Dakota pipeline. I could go on and on and on. Healthy job creation for the first time in 8+ years. There are so many great things that are happening. None of it gets any oxygen at all. And
that's you're hitting the nail on the head. Why is it not? And what do we do to get on track so that the good things that are happening can have more traction and lead to more good things? We need some legislative initiatives that actually get to his desk, whether it's tax reform, whether it's stimulus, things particular to New Jersey, very important for New Jersey, our flood insurance reauthorization, the FAA reauthorization. All of these things are enormous, and everything is sort of in slow motion or reverse. And that's why I said to Linda, whatever it takes to get this fixed, I would hope that we can see happen. And there's a big frustration because 99.9% of this is out of the hands of Congress, and especially out of the hands of the House of Representatives. So we can have all the opinions we want, and it doesn't matter. The Senate has a say in some of this stuff, but very little. It's mostly internal administration, and I hope they find a way at the White House to get untangled and get on track for the sake of all of us.
609-407-1450 open phone line. Welcome to Ask the Congressman. You're on the air with Congressman LoBiondo. Go right ahead.
Good morning, gentlemen. Bill in Ocean City. President Obama, by executive order, gave special treatment to Congress and federal workers under Obamacare and made it easier on all those people. If President Trump were to eliminate that special treatment, do you think it would motivate Congress to get together and rescind and replace Obamacare?
Members of Congress are under Obamacare.
But don't you get a supplement or something that members who join it get some kind of help with it that the rest of us don't get?
Well, I understand. Well, first of all, let me say that I'm not well versed on this because I have never accepted from day one a penny of taxpayer-funded health care. I and my wife have always paid for it separately. But I do know that members of Congress are under Obamacare and that it is the normal rules of federal employees. So the normal rules for a federal employee, any federal employee, somebody who cuts the grass to somebody that's in Department of Defense, fill in the blank, is that they pay 2/3 and the government pays 1/3.
So as far as you know, there's no special treatment to federal workers or members of Congress that help them with Obamacare rules and regulations and expenses.
Not that I'm aware of, and I'll tell you, I spent not zero time looking into it because I don't participate in those perks for members of Congress.
I guess the hypothetical question is, if there is special treatment, if Congress in Obamacare,
Congress should not be treated specially. I'll say that flat out. Congress should be under the rules that everybody else is under.
You know what I'm going to do, too? I'm going to actually look into this because I thought that Congress exempted themselves, basically got to opt out and are not a part of that. And if they are, that it really isn't in the end the same as what it would be for an ordinary citizen because of other perks that they get. So this is the first time I've never heard that federal employees pay 2/3 and that the government pays 1/3. I thought that the government paid, in other words, us, the taxpayers, paid the lion's share, and that really for the first time ever, government employees were participating more than they used to. But I didn't realize they were paying 2/3. I'm actually shocked to hear that, and I almost don't think that's exactly correct. But I'm going to definitely get more on that. I wasn't prepared for this question, and I thought that the government benefits were a whole lot better than what it sounds like.
I can tell you that all of my staff is on Obamacare. My whole staff and the members that I know, their staffs are on Obamacare.
I just remember an executive order by President Obama at the time, and during the campaign, Senator Cruz saying on day one he would eliminate all the special treatment that Obama's executive order provided. And so I believe there is something different about how federal workers are treated.
All right, here's what we're going to do, because we could go back and forth and hypothetically say all these things that we think that we heard, that we think we heard. Keep in mind, politicians sometimes say things that aren't exactly correct, too, although I do remember Ted Cruz saying those things about the federal benefits were better than what the American people get. We'll get the answer. We'll get the question answered in terms of contribution. Remember now, if you pay a certain amount but that you can get reimbursed, then we'll get to that, if that's even so. But here's the takeaway for me. Congressman LoBiondo has never accepted, for 2+ decades, a single penny of what's called fringe benefits that he was entitled to, which is a substantial. It used to be like 30-some% of your compensation package would be fringe benefits. He doesn't take them. He pays his own way, which is typically LoBiondo. Car, he pays his own way. You should see the way, and I always love it that Congressman LoBiondo is so accessible that he can, that he gets beat up sometimes. I'm not saying you're doing it because you've been very professional, but all these other members that you can't even imagine what they do. I'm telling you, trust me on this one. We've got the baby in the bathwater, the guy you don't want to wash down the drain. Trust me on that one. He doesn't take a significant amount of the perks and privileges that the fellow members take, and he's always done it that way. Let's get our final break in. We're going to be right back. More of your phone calls. Sir, thank you for your call. 609-407-1450. Phone lines are open. We'll be back in 3 minutes, which will give us 9 minutes uninterrupted when we come back with Ask the Congressman. United States Congressman Frank LoBiondo is here. 609-407-1450. Phone lines are open.
Make the switch to WPG Talk Radio 104.1 and WPGTalkRadio.com. Only one South Jersey radio station brings you breaking news online, on Facebook and Twitter 24/7. Fox News Alerts.
This is a Fox News alert.
South Jersey traffic updates.
Looking good on the White Horse and Black Horse bikes.
And more. Set the first button on your car radio for WPG Talk Radio 104.1. South Jersey's talk station. WPG Talk Radio 104.1 presents Ask the Congressman. It's your opportunity to talk directly to Congressman Frank LoBiondo. Call 407-1450. Now, with Congressman Frank LoBiondo, here's Harry Hurley.
What do you do when an hour's not enough? I have 9 questions for the congressman. I've gotten exactly 1 in. The military, taxpayer, transgender funding issue, which was the specific request of General Mattis, imploring that the members of Congress give him the opportunity to review this for 6 months or whatever the time frame that he's asked for. That's the only question that I've gotten in, as it should be. You've dominated the action. 609-407-1450. We did some research, Congressman LoBiondo and I, during the break. Basically, every single thing that Congressman LoBiondo said, and I'm not shilling for him, but literally every single thing he said, without even knowing that the question was going to come up, with never having taken the benefit during his entire career. So any other member pretty much knows, or they just blindly accept the taxpayers' generosity and don't pay attention. But LoBiondo has never taken the benefit, so it's not even something that he personally has dealt with. Here is the exact issue, and we can put a bow on this and then go to our next caller. The federal government, meaning you, the taxpayers, we pay 2/3 of the health care costs for federal employees. Federal employees pay 1/3. Now, I covered this with Congressman LoBiondo during the break, and it's exactly what he meant. I do it every single day where I reverse something. So he had that correct, but misspoke. The congressman and his wife pay their own health care 100% since day one that he was in office. Members of Congress and congressional staff, including all of LoBiondo's staff, are on the Obamacare public exchange. No special circumstances. Federal employees not in legislative branch remain in the federal health program. That's the answer, and Congressman, I think we've capped that.
Well, appreciate Bill bringing it up. I hope it clarifies, and I hope he was still listening.
Thank you, Bill. Welcome to Ask the Congressman. You're on the air.
Good morning, gentlemen. I just heard the last caller, and I believe he is correct and is basing his comments on an op-ed piece that appeared in the Wall Street Journal on Monday, and which essentially says that Congress is essentially unaffected by the high costs of the Obamacare exchanges because of a special exemption crafted under the Obama administration. In 2013, the Office of Personnel Management established a system of special subsidies and exemptions, sparing Congress the embarrassment of a self-serving vote. It was established administratively, and it could be ended the same way. And the president should announce that he is instructing OPM to end the exemption and subsidies for Congress.
But I want to ask you this, though. I mean, I just went to a federal source that I called to get that answer, and the employees are paying the 1/3. The taxpayers are subsidizing. Maybe that's what the word subsidize means. We are subsidizing 2/3. I would say this, paying 1/3 in terms of being a government employee is probably one of the higher participation percentage rates that you will find. I think we don't have any difference here. It's just the words make it seem different than it is. In other words, if you think that there is some special payment that we don't get told about and that, the joke's on us, I haven't found that since I've been looking. I think
what you're getting is something that is an official explanation, but it doesn't include all these details.
Well, here's what I'm saying, though. If every check, when you get paid, I'm not sure if you're still working or if you have participation of health care, every paycheck will have a breakdown, FICA and withholding and state, federal, and all these things. And then it will have your either benefits contribution, health care contribution, so they're paying a third of it. So I think it is transparent. They're in the Obamacare exchanges, and they're paying 1/3 of their health care. That seems pretty clear.
No, I think
Harry, let me do this. Let me do two things. First, state if there is any special treatment for Congress on this or anything else, there should not be. Congress should be the same as any other citizen in the United States. Secondly, let me do a deeper dive to make sure that there is not something that was missed in the explanation that you read, and I'll get to the bottom of this. If there is an executive order that somehow I'm not aware of or that we weren't able to bring up at this point, I think it should be reversed, and I can't believe it wasn't reversed because Congress should not have special treatment. But we'll do our best to get to the bottom of it for you. Gentlelady caller, fair enough?
I will send both of you, each of you, a copy of this article.
Okay.
As I said, it appeared on the op-ed page on Monday in the Wall Street Journal.
Okay, happy to look at it, and thanks for calling, and we'll get you a complete answer. Welcome to Ask the Congressman. You're on the air.
Mr. Congressman, in reference to the House Intelligence Committee, which the Republicans control, why are these Republicans so feckless when it comes to investigating the Democrats? You know, right now in Washington, we Republicans have the victory all over. We're in charge of the White House, the Senate, and the House. And yet it seems like the Democrats, with all their investigations, are having their way with us. The Democrats are just they're calling in Trump Jr., questioning him. They're calling in the Democrats are dominating.
Well, it's worse than that, though, kind sir. The Republicans are calling these people in. It's worse. He's got things going on that no incumbent president has ever had. The Democrats, you think the Democrats would have ever allowed under any circumstances a special counsel? Loretta Lynch shouldn't have recused herself. The media gives her credit for recusing herself because she said she'll abide by James Comey's decision. Then she never, ever stepped out of it. She completely stayed involved. They don't ever recuse. They don't ever surrender. They don't ever retreat. They don't ever appoint a special counsel. But I'm going to disagree with you. This is not Democrats. Republicans chair these committees. They could stop all this. They're the ones that are almost as bad as Chuck Schumer when it comes to breathlessly saying we're calling in Donald Trump, we're calling in Manafort, we're calling in. And by the way, I think Manafort has a big problem. I think the two people that have the most right now to lose, people think it's President Trump. I don't think so. Manafort and General Flynn, I think the two of them have a really good chance to fall very, very hard here. But it's not Democrats that are doing this. Republicans are doing this.
Right, that makes it even worse. So why aren't we Republicans having a nice parade of Democrats to be investigated? Why aren't we investigating?
Let me jump in real quick. I never put the congressman on the spot. We only had this hour allotted, and obviously his workday was already working in the 6 o'clock hour. There's so many calls that are holding, but Congressman, we're literally 10 seconds from being done. You do have to go at this time, don't you?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll reconvene next time to the callers we didn't get to. If you want to hold, I'll take your calls when we come back. Congressman, thank you.